So what do I do? Hold on. We have Menachem Mata fixing it. I'm good. We're good. Okay, something happened miraculously. Good Davach, everybody. First email from Michael Weiss. I don't know where he's from. First, you're giving over the daf is tremendous. Yeah. Okay. You got to be here live. That's Gary. I don't know what he's doing. He's jogging somewhere and he can't be here live, so he's going to drive us Meshuggah now. But okay, good. My phone is on. Everything is on. Do we have a sponsor tonight? Who's the sponsor? I'm supposed to look it up. Hold on. Okay, that's what he was telling me to look up. Meanwhile, I'll read this email. Hold on. Sorry, guys. It's Motzei Shabbos. I don't know. Send it to me. Yosef, send it to me. All right. Today's first email from Michael Weiss. First, you're giving over the daf is tremendous. Must be extremely difficult to condense all that information into an 8-minute time slot. I get tremendous hana from the daf. I spend lots of time on Mishnayos, and this fills in a lot more completion of my learning. I get the daf on my WhatsApp and in an app. Sometimes they play at the same time. I don't know what that means exactly. In general, I love the 8-minute daf. In general, most of the time he likes it. All right, that's okay. No but. Mike Weiss, have a good Shabbos. Today's shir is sponsored in honor of our wedding anniversary this Shabbos, Chof Aleph Sivan, in honor of Eli Stefansky and his wonderful and amazing team who are creating such a Torah storm across. I didn't see this yet. How come nobody ever sent this to me? Torah storm across the Jewish globe, seeing so many thousands of Eden of all types and stripes from all 4 corners of the world, uniting together daily, either joining by Zoom or YouTube learning the full daf or on the 8-minute daf is just incredible. A true Kiddush Hashem. It's an honor and privilege to have a small chelik in this amazing achievement. A huge yasher koyach to you, and keep up this amazing undertaking. But who is it? Yosef? It's anonymous? Anonymous, okay. Anonymous. Shkoyach Reb Anonymous, and you should have many, many more wedding anniversaries. And Shkoyach, beautiful message. Thank you. This one is from David Gladstone from Cedars. David from Cedars. You mentioned this morning that the word Bamidbar was mentioned over 60 times in the Torah, and that you don't know which one to link it to by Bnei Tzlafchad. So that's not accurate. I did say that there are 60, and I do know which 2 we're going to link for the Gzeir Shava. My question was, if there's 60, why are you picking those 2? Why are those 2 so special? That's what I was asking. Anyways, he goes on to give me a whole Dvar Torah, beautiful Dvar Torah. But it reminded me that when we were in Shul today, did you guys notice the V'yapilu? When we learned the pasuk, did it make any difference to you? In our little minyanim in the backyard. When the Balkari said V'yapilu, did we understand it differently than we understood last year? No? Okay. How about the Mekaishish? V'yapilu, they went up to the mountain, and some say that was the Aveira that Slavcha did. But the Mekaishish, it should have been, hey, this is the Mekaishish, 3 different shitas. I did fail to mention, we were in a rush. Somebody pointed it out to me, but I said it over today by the meal, and my daughter's like, yeah, we learned that in 2nd grade. So, okay, I'll just say it over anyways. That Tosfos and Baba Basra says that the Mekaishish, whoever he was, whether he was Slavchad or whoever he was, he did it L'Shem Shomayim. He did L'Shem Shomayim because he wanted to show that there's din v'cheshbon if you mechal Shabbos. What's interesting is that the Bali Musar always point this out, and they say, listen, imagine Slavchad comes up to Shemayim, he's all excited because he did something to Shem Shemayim, he sacrificed himself, and he's looking like, where is my place, this Mekaishish, where is my chashva place? And they tell him, had you not done what you did, there would have been a geula. If Klal Yisrael would have kept 1 Shabbos, 2 Shabbosim, you messed everybody up. Because of you there's a Holocaust, because of you there's all these things. So the message is that don't be a oiber chacham when it comes to Yiddishkeit. Because Baruch says, don't do something, don't make cheshbonos. Never make cheshbonos. There's always, I think HaKadosh Baruch Hu would have wanted me to do this thing and this and this. No. Baruch says, don't do it, you don't do it. Without too many cheshbonos. And to finish off this email, He says, just want to say how much I love the shir and it helps me start my day off with Torah. Because that's one of the big points, especially the guys that come to the 7:15 shir. Starting off the day with Torah, there's nothing like it. Before you go to work, before they even daven, starting the day off with the daf. I do sometimes join the Zoom in the middle of the day, but recently everyone has been booking meetings at 2 p.m. I know it's an iffy time that time. May you continue with this great cheer, David from Cedarhurst, Givaldik. We're holding, today is Daf Tzadik Tes, the last few words on Daf Tzadik Tes on the base. Tanu Rabbanon, Charutzim Hoyu Kroshim. We're still talking about the Kroshim for a few more minutes or seconds. These are the Kroshim. The Kroshim were chiseled out on the bottom. But not just chiseled out like an American plug, more like an Israeli plug, meaning that they fit perfectly into this Adonim, but the Adonim was the same width as the Kroshim. So if it had like two giant things going like this, from side to side that were arm long, they wouldn't fit into the Adonim. The Adonim would have to be larger, and the base of the Adonim would be much wider. But since the Adonim, in other words, they were chiseled, each one of these pieces is chiseled out on 4 sides. When I say American plug, because sometimes that piece is almost the size of the plug. You know what I'm talking about? Whereas, okay, forget it. Forget that I say, you're looking at me like I just felt, okay. No, it's okay. I think these guys right over here are chiseled out over here as well. Not just on this side and this side, but on this side. Had this piece of wood come flush with the rest of the keresh, it would not fit in over here. This piece would have to be extended. No? Not following. What? He follows. Hold on, if I had a pencil or something.
Oh, I understand.
You get it? It's not just chiseled this way, it's chiseled over here as well. They chiseled it down. So now it's a nice little square. If it was just like this, and basically flush with the rest of the kairu all the way up, it would not fit in to this small little receptacle. You have a nice picture over there? Let me see. Okay. Fine. Shkoyach. It is a better picture. It shows the depth. It shows how this is indented. Okay. Charutzim hayu kroshim v'chalulim hayu adonim, and these adonim had 2 holes in them, literally like a plug. V'nirin krosim balulois kakochavim barakia. This is completely unrelated to anything that we were learning, although we did mention, it's related, but not. We discussed the Yeriyos HaMishkan, the covering over the Mishkan. This bottom guy is called the Mishkan. This is called the Izim. This is called Tachash. Says the Gemara, V'nirim krosim balulois kakochavim barakia. This one right over here, the center one, which is 4 amos wide. This is 8 feet. Each section is 8 feet. Don't look at it as a little strip. From here to here is 8 feet, times 11. And then they had these hooks in the middle, lulois, there was like a little round piece of whatever, I don't have a good picture of it, like a piece of tchelas, and these lulois grabbed onto them, but basically connected the 2 pieces of fabric. Here's one, here's another one, and if you look up, you see blue and gold, it looks like stars at night. That's all the Gemara is saying. That this gold was shiny like the stars. This guy over here. Tanu Rabbanon. Yeriyos hatachtoinos shel tcheles. This guy right over here is made out of tcheles, blue wool, vishel argamon, purple wool, vishel telas shani, red, vishel sheish, linen. Beautiful stuff. This is made out of goat's hair. The one that we were just talking about, the gray one, goat's hair. It's more difficult to make the goat here than the bottom one. Why? You need women with chachma, with the knowledge how to do it. They did it with their hands. It says a similar lashon, but it adds a word. They had to have heart. If they had the heart with the chachma, so it was an additional layer, not just chachma, but also their heart. So it took more. And he explains it a little bit, Reb Nechemia. Shatuv bi'izim v'tavui mino izim. And we actually had this already. It just seems like a theme, like we're doing chazar sort of recently. That the izim, the wool, or whatever you want to call it, the hair from the goats, was washed while it was on the goat, and they braided the hairs while it was on the goat. It's very difficult to take hair from the goat and start making something out of it. The reason they did it, they wanted it to be fresh. They felt that as soon as they would shear that hair off the goat, it would lose its freshness. It wouldn't be as gishmak. Tuma? Yeah, we that's not what we had in this sugi, I don't think, but we have to go back. Remember something. Over there was more of, over here. What? No, this is not Mechubel Karka. When, you mean once it was done, it was a kli? Yeah? I don't know. It sounds familiar. It does sound familiar, but I don't think that was the maskana over there. Fine. I don't know. We have to go back again with my memory. So we discussed the two porches on one side of the Rishus Rabbim. Omer Rabbim Shum Rebechia, Agalois, going back to the wagons that carried these kairos. How many kairos were there? 48. How many wagons were there? 4. Each wagon carried 12 beams. Tachteyen, uveneyen, vitzideim, Rishus Rabbim. We had this yesterday. I didn't have the picture. Here's the picture. So, I don't know if you can see well. I can't. This is a wagon. Okay, this is one wagon. These are the beams laying lengthwise on the narrow part of the wagon. This is how we said the beams. Here's a better picture. I don't want to mess it up, the order, but okay, let's say something like this. This is the three stacks versus the 2 stacks. We came out the maskana. It's 2, not so much maskana, but that's how we finished off. Fine. Now, you have underneath the wagon, underneath the frame, we said the wagon is made out of a frame, and we have the wheels. The actual wagon is going to say is 2.5 amma. Each wheel from the wagon, from the wall of the wagon to the end of the wheel is 1 1/4. From the wall to the wagon, 1 1/4. So we have tachteim underneath the wagon, we have tzideim by the wheels, and then we have beneim between the wagons, right over here. All that is considered Rishus Harabim. Omar Abayo, Bein Agola La Agola, Kimloi Oyrach Agola. If you keep that on, good, keep it on, keep that picture on. Bein Agola La Agola. From this wheel to this wheel is how much? 5 amos. From wagon to wagon. So, I don't know, if you see, from wheel to wheel of a wagon, side by side, is 5 amos. From this wheel to this wheel. Like the length of the agola. The agola itself, the width is 2.5. But if you take all the wheels and the width, that's 5 amos, and then you could put a 5 amma, another agola, in between the 2 agolas. Forget about my red kairos that I put up there. But from wheel to wheel, these are lined up from here to here is 5 amos. V'kama oirach agola 5 amos. Ask the Gemara, why does a wagon need to be 5 amos? Lamali. B'dalit opalgo sagi. So, if we even go with this shita, let's start with the other shita. Hold on. We'll take this. Let's say this one, right over here. This is how we said that or forget this one. This is better. Whatever. It doesn't really make a difference. Any sheet that we take. Whatever. 1.5. No, because I don't have a good picture of the 3 sheet though. Yeah, okay, fine. Here's 3. 1.5, 1.5, and 1.5. 3 times 1.5 equals 4.5 amma. So then why does the wagon have to be 5 ammas long? Right? Each stack is 1.5 amma. Now if you put them the other way, you flip them over, where they're laying on their 1 amma side, so that will give us 4 ammas. So then you really don't need 5 ammas. But even according to this shita, that they're laying flat on the 1.5 side, so 1.5 times 3 is 4.5. Asks the Gemara, why do I need a 5 amma long wagon? Says the Gemara, so that it shouldn't be, if it's exactly 4.5, it'll be 2 mitzumtzum, will be 2 pushy, plus you have those rings and everything. So they gave it a little extra room, and that's why, and we explained that yesterday as well. Omar Rava, tzidei agala, the sides, the wheels, kimeloi roichav agala. So now we already showed how that works. The wheels, each one is, where am I? 1.25 amma. So 1.25 plus 1.25 is 2.5, and that's exactly the width of the wagon, 2.5. So from wheel to wheel is 5 ammas, 2.5 times 2. V'kama roichav agala, shtei amos umechza, 2.5. Ask the Gemara, Lamali, why do I need the wagon to be 2.5 amma? Ba'amsu palgosagi. Wouldn't it be enough to have 1.5 amos? Why? Because if you do this, forget about this guy. Let's say I am going to take one beam on a ride, so all I need is 1.5 amma. Why do I need 2.5 amma? What does the 2.5 amma width give me at all? I could do away with 1.5 amma. Worst comes to worst. So an amma, you're right, is not good enough, because what if I need a beam? I need to take one beam on a trip. So make it 1.5 amma for one beam. Okay, I'll give it to you, at least 1.5 amma. But why 2.5 amma? Where did you come up with the 2.5 amma? Ba'amso palgusagi, says the Gemara, think about it. These beams don't go like this picture, this way. They go lengthwise on the narrow part. So if you have a narrow wagon like this and a 20-foot beam, these are 20 feet, on the wagon, it's just going to fall. It has to have some stability. So I make it 2.5 amma wide. 5 feet wide, I guess, is enough to have a stable 20-foot beam on it. Ella, the kaimelon, derchush sarabim, shesh esiriyama. Now you can go back, Mordechai, to that first picture, this guy. So if we do the cheshbon, Rabbi Yisai, we have a wagon, from wheel to wheel is 5 ammas. We said, from this wheel to this wheel is another 5 amma. And from this wheel to this wheel is 5 amma. Total of 3 times 5 is how much? 15. So where do we come up with 16 ammas in Rosh Hashanah? 15 ammas of Rosh Hashanah is enough. The Mishkan Chamesrei have. Here's the Mishkan. This is what they did in the Midbar, and they only had 15 ammas width. Now, what are you supposed to ask right away? What kasha should be bothering you right now on this Gemara? Where do you see 15 over here? I see a lot more than 15. How much? 20. You hear what he says? It's 20. At least 20, a little bit more than 20. Why? Because each beam is 10. 10 times 2 is 20. Plus you have a little bit of you can't drive in a midbar on sandy dunes touching, so there's a couple of inch difference over here. I don't know how many. So it's 20, at least 20. Let's call it 20. So the Rosh Hashanah is 20. Says the Gemara that it has to be, says Rashi, sorry. Reb Shloimeh Sofer is today's sponsor. Okay, fine, Baruch Hashem. So we have a known sponsor. I was getting worried. Okay, so Reb Shloimeh Sofer, you should have a tremendous anniversary, you and your wife, you should be zoicha to a lot of nachas. Yishkoyach for the sponsorship. Okay, so says Rashi, we cannot count the 20 amas. You hear? You hear what's going on? You can't count the 20 amas. Why? Because the 20 amas are above the 10 tfachim of Rosh Hashanah. It's in a makom p'tur. We said that this wagon is 10 tfachim high. That's considered Rosh Hashanah. So anything above that is already in makom p'tur, not counted. But the actual wagons were on a 15 space, not on a 20. Zog the Gemara, Amsa Yatira Havi, Davakoi ben Levi. Listen to this beautiful pshat. There was a Levi that stood behind the wagons as it was traveling through the midbar, making sure that nothing's tumbling over. And if something tumbles over, check this picture out. Geshmaka picture from the Pirush Chai. Here's a flatbread man. He's ducking underneath the wagon. And he has, I just did this once at Shabbos, I didn't have time, a red, you see this red little, it's still in the picture, just it's black and white. I did it in red. You can see where he travels. This is the half a amma addition that he has on each side. A half amma on here, a half amma, total of 16 ammas. In other words, they needed it. They used this half a amma to come. You see over here, you can see this red guy falling. So he crawls underneath the two wagons, because there's another wagon here. Don't forget there's another wagon. Crawls underneath, climbs up. There's an amma space, because we said there's 2 stacks times 1.5, which is 3. No, that doesn't work. No, sorry. 2 stacks of times 1, so that's 2. And another 2 stacks times 2 is 4. And then there's 1 amma in between that he could wiggle his way in there and fix this beam if it falls. Okay? So therefore, now you know that there's another half a amma for the flatbread man to, and these guys, according to one pshat in the Gemara, that they were 20 ammas long. It's a really tough job. For a 20 amma man to bend over like that underneath the thing, yeah. Okay? You have to stand between the two and fix them. And these things weigh 4 tons. You could crush it make you flatter than, maybe that's why he's flat. Okay. The Chimishtava Kroshim have a wow. Reb Hershey, Vasatzach, Reb Hershey leader. I haven't seen you in a while. A good davach. Moti, you're a bad boy. I want to see you in Beis Medrash. Reb Shimshon Weiss, I see. Leon, okay, I'm not mentioning Leon anymore. Who else? Reb Muin. I'll mention you, but the Olam's complaining. All I say is Leon. Says the Mishnah. Rabbi Feder is here. He says it's almost 10 o'clock. Says the Mishnah, Chulyas Habar. So what's a Chulyas Habar? You go into a ditch, you go into a pit, and you take out some dirt from the pit, and you throw it to the side. Here's the ground, and you throw it to the side, and you build up a little bit of a chulya. How do you say chulya in English? A bank. I like bank. Bank is good. You make a little bit of bank around the bar. Okay? So now what all of a sudden you could have 10 tfachim starting from the top of the chulya going downwards. Okay. Chulya es habar v'hasela. Let's say this is a sela, just a stone, smack in the middle of Rishus Rabbim. If it's 10 tfachim, it has halacha of Rishus HaYachid. Shehengu b'ayim asara, v'rechabim arba, v'rachman arba. If they're 4 tfachim by 4 tfachim and 10 tfachim high, hanoitam mehen, v'hanoisen al gabam, chayav, pachis mekaim potter. So this is your typical Rishus HaYachid. It has to be 10 tfachim deep or 10 tfachim high. You have a Rishus HaYachid. Ask the Gemara, what's the point of saying that the guy dug out? Who cares how much he dug out? You have a pit that's 10 tefachim deep. Who cares how it got there? If you start here, you start there. Why don't we just talk about a regular bar in somebody's backyard that's 10 tefachim deep? What good does this give me? What halacha could I learn from this? Listen to bar vasela, very simple. Bar sela. The opposite of a sela is an inverted sela, 10 tefachim deep. Why are you telling me that this is a chulya? Misayele Rabbi Yochanan answers the Gemara. Rabbi Yochanan bar v'chul yasa mitztarfen la'asara. Yes, it is a chiddush. It's a chiddush that 5 tefachim, let's say, are below ground, and 5 tefachim are above ground. I have a new rishus called a bar v'chulya. In fact, there's a whole shaila here. What Rashi holds in the Rishonim. What is this considered? On top, right over here, is that part of the bar, not part of the bar. It's outside, inside, 10 tefachim. How do you view this? So, Tayina mehachi bar b'shus harabim amuka asaru chav arba. We have something similar that says it more mefurish in the Brayso, just like Rabbi Yochanan. If you have a bar in b'shus harabim that's 10 tefachim and it's 4 tefachim wide, I cannot draw water from it on Shabbos. Why? Because the bar is Rishus HaYachid, and to go from Rishus HaYachid to Rishus HaRabim is Haitzah. You want to drink from that bar, you have to make walls around it. You make walls around the bar. Now everything inside those walls is Rishus HaYachid. I could draw water, no problem. Now, if there's no walls, I'm very thirsty. I go into a bar in the middle of Rishus Rabim, and I stick my head into the bar. Could be even with a cup. I go like this, but my head is over the bar. I'm in Rishus Rabim, in Rishus HaYachid. I drink. It's geshmak. What's wrong with that? It's a problem. Why? Because, says Rashi, I might forget that it's Shabbos. I might forget what I'm doing. I'll take the cup outside of the Rishus HaYachid and continue drinking outside. Now I just was over Ritzah. You're not allowed to go from the bar to Rishus Rabim. Elim Kain, Hichnis La, Roisha Verubai. I don't know if I'm the only one. Tell me if I'm the only one. I read this Gemara, like everything else in Corona, every 5 minutes you get a message, you get a meme, you get a joke, you get a picture. There's one thing that's going to stick with me forever. I can't get it out of my head. The bacher that was caught coming out of the Kalim mikvah. He went toiveling in the Kalim. You remember that one? For some reason, I just can't get over that one. And I'm reading this Gemara. I'm picturing like a little bar, and this guy is inside the bar. He's coming out of the bar. Shalom Aleichem. Guy went to toivel his Kalim, and out pops this guy. Literally, he pulls out his phone, starts taking a video of him. He's literally like other Marishan. But in the video, you don't really see all that, but you see that he's not wearing a bathing suit and all that. He just comes out of the bar. Shalom Aleichem. It wasn't like a dirty whatever. It was good. The guy took it in the right way. And the guy is like shocked. Like, what are you doing? This is a mikveh. Why are you taking videos? Anyway, that from the whole Corona, that's the only thing that I remember. What?
Did he put his dishes in the mikveh after that? I'll wait till next week.
Shmuel Eliwat wants to know if he continued on putting his dishes in that bar mikveh. Akapanim. If the guy went his entire body into the bar, then he could drink in the bar. Then he's mutter to drink. Okay. A guy like that usually is potter from brachas anyways, but this guy, ubar v'chul yasa mitzdarfen la'asara. And here, so the Brayso finishes off finally, you should know that the bar, the 5 tefachim, call it 5 tefachim, 6 tefachim, whatever it is, and whatever the bank is, on top, are mitzdaref to 10 tefachim. That's the chiddush here in the Mishnah. An additional chiddush, you get a freebie. By minei Rav Mordechai ben Rava. As for Mordechai ben Rava, Amud b'Rishus Harabim gavaya asar v'rochav dalid. You have this guy, let's say, in the middle of Rishus Harabim, you have a beam, smack in the middle of Rishus Harabim. Proper size to make it a Rishus HaYachid. 10 tefachim high, 4 tefachim wide by 4 tefachim. Vizarak, and he throws from Rishus Harabim. You can see it even in this picture, although this is for something else, we'll borrow it for now. He's throwing an object from Rishus Harabim on top of this thing. So here's the Shaila Balpeh. In order to get on top of this beam, it has to travel above the beam to land on a beam. What is that called? On top of the beam, it's a makom p'tur. So he wants to know, what's the halacha? If I go from Rishus Harabim through a makom p'tur, because anything above 10 tefachim is a makom p'tur, and I land in a Rishus HaYachid, am I chayiv? It made a stopover in a makom p'tur. Maybe I'm not chayiv. Says the Gemara, Mi amrin harei akira be'isur. He did perfect. He was over beautifully by lifting it up from Rishus Harabim. Harei hanocha be'isur, and the landing was perfect. He landed, it was a 10. The landing was perfect. Mamish isur deraisa. Oidilma kivin the makim turko asi, but it had to travel through above 10 tefachim. Above 10 tefachim is called a makim tur. Loi, he's not chayiv. Without getting too deep into this, Taisus points out, wait a minute, we learned Mefurish Gemaras already in our Masechta that you're chayiv, you walk above 10 tefachim and makim tur, you're chayiv. Taisus comes up with the whole pshat that it's going downwards. It's traveling on the downward. And on the downward is that called koyach koychoy. It's not his force. It's coming down without his force, so that's the Gemara Shaila here. Fine. Omalei says Rava to Rav Mordechai, Masnisanhi. Isn't that a Mishnah? Our Mishnah? He didn't like that. Also, Shaila Rav Yosef, he goes asking the same question. He says the same exact answer. Amalei Masnisani. Also, Shaila Labai asked 3 people in a row, and they all say the same exact word. What are you asking silly questions? Masnisani. Omer Lahu, so he says to all of them, Kulchu Beruko Dahadadi Tafitu. You're all spitting the same spit? Or you all come from the same place? Why can't anybody say, add a word, take off a word? What are you saying here? So they tell him, what? And you don't think that you can learn from the Mishnah of Asnan? In our Mishnah, it says Mefurish, if you take off an object from a selah, and a selah is 10 tefachim, L'chayr is talking about taking off, putting on, throwing, putting on. It's all the same. What's the difference? And it has to travel through a makim tur. Our Mishnah says it's asur. Chayav. So Rav Mordechai says, wait a minute, who told you? Dilma masnisim b'machat. It's a big doichak, and the Rishonim point out it's a doichak, and therefore they don't hold like Rav Mordechai. They say we don't pass like him. But he says, who told you? Maybe we're talking about a needle. And a needle doesn't travel through a makim patur. It travels right over here and goes straight on to this guy. Says Gemara, where machanami efshadaloi medalya purta. Machan also has volume. You don't like how big it is, great, but it's still a little bit more than 10 tefachim, right? Because this selah is 10 tefachim tall. In order for a machat that's a millimeter, whatever you want to call it, it has to have some size. It's not invisible, so it's a little bit of more than 10 tefachim. Inami says Gemara, this le mursha. Oh, so here's the picture for mursha, right over here. Here's the mursha from the Pirush Chai. Look how interesting halacha. It has a little bit of a protrusion here. Something sticks out. And your whatever is going to land on this little guy. So, the halacha is, since this is already 10 tefachim tall and 4 tefachim wide, so even this little mursha is considered a Rishus HaYachad. Yes, it's lower and it's small, but it doesn't have any chashivas to itself. And since it doesn't have any chashivas to itself, it's bottled to the Rishus HaYachad and it has the same name as the Rishus HaYachad. So maybe I have a situation where you could throw something below 10 and you're still over on Rishus HaYachad. Another pshat is inami de rami b'charitza. Okay, maybe there's a little bit of a groove right here on the top. Yeah, like a lot of stones have grooves in them. And you put the machat, the needle, right into the groove. The entire surface is at 10 tefachim. But you were able to find something that's 9.99 and you put it in there. And that charetz, that little groove, is still considered Rishus HaYachid because the whole entire thing is Rishus HaYachid now. Because most of it is above 10. Omer Rav Miyasha. Rabbi said, this is one of these beautiful dapim with unbelievable lumdas and svaras and logic. Boy Rabbi Yochanan, Kaisel b'Rishus HaRabim, Gavoya Asara, Ve'enoi Rochav Arba. You built a little chain link fence, some sort of flimsy fence, that's 10 tefachim tall, but it doesn't have the width of a Rishus HaYachid, of Arba. Umukov lekarmelis. What did you do? You went and you surrounded a Carmelis. I just thought, I was thinking now, I have a property in Chicago that's in a terrible neighborhood. I'm trying to get rid of it. I mentioned this a bunch of times. So not only does it cost me taxes every year and all that, but we have a lot of weeds. So they come and if you don't cut the weeds, they charge you all this money. But then, worse than that, the whole neighborhood thinks it's a dump. So they take they do a renovation, they take a truck, and they just dump it there. So we have to clean it. If we don't clean it, we get fined. So we had to buy a fence and surround this property. It's a crazy amount of money. It's a thin fence. So what do? They come with their trucks, and they just run over the fence, and they dump it. Anyway, I can't make any more jokes. I sent to Naftali. I said last month's Shabbos a joke about combing the hair. And a guy sent me a guy that I don't think he was too nishta unzera, and he goes, "I love your shir, bro. I love your class, bro. But I think you should remove that comb joke." That's what he wrote me. I sent it to him. The name didn't look so Craig something, whatever. Anyway, love Hashanah. So you got to be careful. Bezer Hashem. This is one of those neighborhoods, and this. I think I have a Carmelist. I'm just thinking now. It's more like, I don't know how big is this Sosaim thing? Yeah, for sure Carmelist. So it's Rosh Hashanah. No, it's Rosh Hashanah. Now it's for sure. No. No, it's Mukaf that they shouldn't get in there and dump their stuff. It's supposed to be Diris over there, but it's not. It's just a vacant lot. It's a giant. It's the Kool-Aid factory where the original Kool-Aid, they used to produce Kool-Aid. It's like 11 acres or something. Yeah, almost 11 acres in the middle of Chicago. We had to be makif this thing. It's crazy. Fine. V'zorak v'nochal gabov. Mau. Mi amrinon kivin de'enei rochov dalid. So what happened? You have this little fence. Now I'm taking an object, I'm throwing it on top of the fence. But the fence has a purpose. The fence just created, it surrounded a Carmelis. Before it was a Carmelis, and now it's surrounded and made the Carmelis into Rosh Hashanah. So it served the purpose. So here's the question. It's a beautiful question. At the end of the day, the top of the fence is very narrow, so I threw it onto a Mokim Ptur. It's not a Rosh Hashanah. So Rabbi Yochanan, it's very interesting. Rabbi Yochanan has two tzdadim here. And the Gemara's answer is the third side completely. What are the two tzdadim of Rabbi Yochanan? The simple way, hey, you have a fence, very narrow on top, not a Rosh Hashanah, it's a Mokim Ptur. Or perhaps no, this fence comes, here's a fence and a fence, so everything in between, it's as if it's full. So now, my narrow fence is very, very wide. It's as wide as my hole from fence to fence. So when I put it on top of the fence, I'm actually putting it on this width. Not on this narrow part, but on the whole width of my, whatever I fenced in. Omarullah. Now, just to point out another Taisvis, very interesting Taisvis. What about, we'll say a few more words. Says Gemara Mula, Kal v'choymer la'acherim oisem echitza la'atzmoy loy kolchkin. Says Ula, it's very simple. If this little chain link fence had the power to make the entire inside of my field a Rosh Hashanah, so it itself should certainly be Rosh Hashanah. Great. What about this case? I took dirt out from the bottom and I put it over here and I just created 10 tfachim. Shouldn't this also, if I put something on top over here, this created a 10 tfachim depth? So this question that the Rishonim have, if I put something on top over here, perhaps this should be a raya that it definitely should be chayiv. This should be Rosh Hashanah. Tais says no raya from here, because this area, we just look at the top part. The top part is not 10 tfachim. That's how Tais says. The chulya is not 10 tfachim. This question over here is different, because you actually have a 10 tfachim mechitza. It's just not 4 tfachim wide. Itmanami, what? Who? Oh, I'm middle of Amud Beis. How do you know you're not even looking in the Gemara? Wow. V'chein itmanami omer b'chir barashi omer rav v'chein omer b'yitzchak omer b'yochanan koisa b'shus haravim govaya sora v'ein rochav arba. If you have this case, nachamol this case, you have a wall that's 10 tefachim high, but it's not 4 tefachim wide. Umuk of the Carmelis, and it was meant to surround the Carmelis v'sor Rosh Hashanah, to make the Carmelis Rosh Hashanah. Hazorek v'nochal gabav chayov. La'acherim moisim achitza la'atzmi l'kolshkein. Fine. By Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi said, this is the stuff that makes you smart. Not only is it geschmack, it makes you smart. It's like, it's forget that it's Torah. It's mamash gashmius. We're learning, we're going to be over a little bit. We have Anas Ha'olam Hazeh right here. By Rabbi Yochanan, Bar Tisha. If you have a pit that's 9 tefachim deep, va'okar mimena chulya, and you started digging on Shabbos, and you took out the final tefach of the 10 tefachim. You started at 9, and you took out one more tefach. V'shlima la'asara, now you have 10, mahu. You hear the kasha? Beautiful question. Akiras chayfetz v'asiyas mechitza b'adei adod kasu. When I took out that final shovel of dirt, I did an akira from a pit that is, either I could look at it, that as I took it out, it was a 10 tefachim pit, or no, I just made it 10 tefachim by taking out the final shovel. It's a mardik kasha. It's like gita v'yali b'yim ke'echad. The final scoop, the final tefach. Yeah. No, the final scoop, I would say, because it's not yet 10 tefachim until I get that final scoop out. And as I get the final scoop out, 2 things happen simultaneously. I was over in Akira, and I also made a bar. But when I did that Akira, it wasn't 10 tefachim. It just became 10 tefachim, but it happened simultaneously. They simultaneously work here. Says the Gemara, one more question on top of this. Maybe I'll say, listen, when I removed that shovel, there weren't 10 tefachim in this pit. So I'm not chayiv. Loy mechayiv. So what about in the reverse? You have a pit that's exactly 10 tefachim, and then you put a shovel's worth of dirt into the pit. So what happens? As the dirt lands in the pit, that's the hanacha. But guess what? As it landed, I don't have 10 tefachim, because the landing caused that the pit should be less than 10 tefachim. The material that landed in the bottom of the pit just caused the pit to be 9.99 and not 10. What do I do? Mao. Hanachas chayfetz v'siluk mechitza b'adei adad kasu. Putting down the object, doing hanacha, but also getting rid of the 10 tefachim happens simultaneously. Mechayev, yishichayev, or lo mechayev, or perhaps no, because it landed, I don't have a 10 tefachim pit, and therefore I'm not chayev. Tifshalei midday, says the Gemara. Wait a minute, I could prove it from Rabbi Yochanan. You know what? It's. I just realized again. It's Rabbi Yochanan again. That famous sugya that we had. Why does it say 39 melachas, minyan alamali, and we kept on bringing that sugya at least 5 times? It was Rabbi Yochanan, I think. I'm pretty sure it was Rabbi Yochanan. Anyway, yeah. This also, again, we bring this sugya again. That was this thing, and we're going to have it tomorrow for a 3rd time in the Mishnah, the actual Mishnah. The original is on Kuf Amud Aleph. That was this nan, right? The sticky igula dveila, or like Menachem said, sticky toilet paper. Today, it's wet toilet paper on a wall. Hazoyrik arba amos bakoisel. If you throw something 4 amos onto a wall, lemala masar tefachim. If it's above 10 tefachim, kizoyrik ba'avir. More than 10 tefachim is a makom tur. It's as if you threw it onto the air. Why? Because it's not a rishus harabim. Above here is not a rishus harabim, and it's also not enough to be considered rishus hayachid, because rishus hayachid is a flat surface. It's not a vertical. It's not a rishus hayachid. L'matam asara. But if you throw it underneath 10 tefachim, kizorig ba'aretz, it's as if you threw it on the ground. And v'hazorig ba'aretz, it's funny. Over here it says a vav. I noticed in the Mishnah doesn't have a vav. Okay. Yeah, where was that? Hazorig ba'aretz, fine. V'hazorig ba'aretz, I like this one better, because this explains it. V'hazorig ba'aretz, continuation. And throwing on the ground, arba amos chayav. V'avinabon, we asked the question, v'le'nach. I took a ball, threw it against the wall, and it bounced back. Where's the hanacha? It never landed, it never rested. We're talking about a big, fat, juicy fig that could stick to a wall. I asked the Gemara, but according to what we're discussing now, in other words, the Gemara is asking, this case is in a case also, not only, but also in a case where you have exactly laser measured 4 amos. And if I throw this fat, juicy fig and it hits the wall at that area I don't have 4 amas anymore. It's minus whatever the size of the fig is. It's very similar to our case where you take dirt and you fill up the pit. Over here I filled up the ear. Now the distance from me to the wall is minus the fig. What's the difference? If you flip it over, flip it upside down, the wall is on the floor now and I put a fig on the floor, that's also reducing the distance that I threw it. Says the Gemara, no. You don't want to, you want to eat the fig. So you never said that the fig should be part of the wall. You're not reducing the wall. When you throw dirt into a pit, you're reducing the size of the pit. So you mevatel the dirt, and the dirt becomes one and the same with the pit. Boy Rava. Another question. Zorak. Wow, B'liya and Hara. Motzei Shabbos, 70 people on Zoom. Ashreichem Yisrael. Unbelievable. Zorak daf v'noch agabi yiseidos. You take here, something like this. You take something like this, a flat thing that's 4 tfachim by 4 tfachim. You toss it. You play a game, and you want it to land on top of these like pins that you have in Rosh Hashanah. Now the pins don't have the surface of 4, but they're 10 tfachim tall. Zorak daf v'noch agabi yiseidos. Now, says the Gemara, wait a minute, we have to figure out what Rav is asking here, because it cannot be like we just said. If he's asking that this just turned into Rosh Hashanah and the platform and the Rosh Hashanah happened at once simultaneously, that's exactly Rabbi Yochanan's question. So it can't be that Rav is repeating Rabbi Yochanan's question. So, a new question. Okay, on this piece, there was something else. There was a chayfetz. And he threw them both. So now the daf lands, literally a piece of paper. It lands on the Yiseidos, and now you have a Rosh Hashanah. Obviously, it can't be a piece of paper. It wouldn't work. I was just saying daf as a joke. A daf of plywood. Because this would be too flimsy. It wouldn't work. Whatever, just l'saber soy, daf. Because the guy told me daf, that you have to turn the daf, you have to turn the page. So I'm stuck with this daf now. So zorak daf means not a daf gemara, that this is secular. You can't throw things, and especially not on Shabbos. You can't throw. So now we're going daf over here is a secular term. The zorak, I'm kidding. Zorak daf v'chefetz agabav. He threw whatever, a piece of wood that's 4 by 4 that could hold something sturdy. It landed on top of these pins in the ground. So now he just created a Rosh Hashanah by landing on it. But there's something on top of it. So what's the question? There's one of these questions you can't answer. The Bahadei Adadi Kasu, they came simultaneously. No. Listen, whatever's on top of this plank of wood, it's one with the wood, so you're not over. And they landed together. Look, anytime you throw something and it lands hard, so whatever, that apple that's on top of that plank of wood is going to bounce. So it bounced and then landed again. It had a double landing. And therefore, so therefore, he should be chayiv, because on the second landing, he should be chayiv. Because on the second landing, it already landed on a nice, sturdy Rosh Hashanah platform. Teiku, Mata Shoel. It's not? It's a double koichoi. It's koyach, koichoi, koichoi. Right here. I don't know. It's good kasha. What do you say? Anybody have a good teretz? He says it's not koichoi. Yoni Meisels, that's the kasha. I don't know if you for sure. I barely heard him, so you for sure didn't hear him. He's sitting all the way in the back. He asked that when it bounces, that bounce he didn't cause. He caused it, but it's considered koyach koichoi. It's not his power that caused the bounce. Therefore, it shouldn't be chayiv. Omar Rava. Rabbi Isai, we had this sugya word for word. Literally, we're not adding, we're not thinking. Maybe one word is different. The word pshita. But besides that, I think it's word for word. I didn't check it exactly, but I'm pretty sure it's exact. Omar Rava, because it was all in the beginning of Masechta Dafei. Pshitali, it's pasha to me. Mayim al gabi mayim haynu anachasan. Water, yes, there are waves and water is constantly moving, but that's how you place water. So if you were to remove water from a river, from an ocean, you're over on Eitzah. Typically when something is in motion, you're not over. But water, that's how you put water down. There's no better way to put water. It's liquid, so it's going to be moving. You'll remember this Gemara. What about a nut floating on water? A nut doesn't belong on water. So Mamela, what? It's constantly in motion. In motion, you're not over on Eitzah. By Rava, Egois Bekli. What about if the nut is inside of a little boat that's on the water? Do we say that we view the nut and it is in a sturdy place? The cup is not moving. The cup is moving, but relative to the cup, when you're on a boat, you're not moving. The boat is on the water, but relative to the boat is not moving. Shemen agabi yayin. This is also part, we learned it over there. Shemen agabi yayin. Machlokes Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri v'Rabbanan. What about oil that floats on top of wine? Machlokes. This not shemen shetzaf al gabi yayin v'nogat tful yom b'shemen. We're talking about shemen that's truma, and it's full yom. What's a tful yom again? Tful yom is a guy that's tamei and he went to the mikvah. He already went to the mikvah. He just has to wait for sundown to be completely tar. So, but if he touches truma, he renders the truma tamei. So now it's a shaila whether or not, what does he make here tamei? You have two levels. You have, some, like I remember saying then, people light their candles on Shabbos, they put the oil on top of the water. They don't want to use a lot of oil, so they put water first. Great. So, and then I think somebody, I forgot, maybe Noam was saying, it's a shaila mechaba, using I forgot, whatever. So the shaila is, he's paisel the top part, but the wine on the bottom is not connected because they're fluids. They're different entities. They are considered connected, and so too when it comes to Hilchos Shabbos, the same thing. If you have, so according to the Manda Omer that says that the oil, even though it's on top of the oil, on top of the wine, is considered one. So too, in our case, the kli would be considered one with the water. I think that's what he's trying to say here. Now, let me see what Rashi says. Nami, the Rabbanan havele ke'ego is agabi mayim. Says Rashi, it's like the nut on top of water. According to Rabbi Yochanan, it's water on top of water, so that's the hanocha. So you're taking it off from the top. It doesn't matter. They're all considered the same. Liquids are the same. And according to the second Manda Omer, it's like a nut floating on water. Nut floating on water is not one with the water. So you're not over and out on that. Rabbi say tomorrow morning, 7:15. Have a wonderful week. It's great to see everybody again. Shkoyach for coming. Shkoyach Yoni. Tremendous chizuk. Thank you. Agud Davach. Agud Davach. Rabbi say, you guys, Barry, where did he run away to? I saw him for a second.